boy was bound naked on a rubber mat. There were complicated incantations and stuff in Latin and Greek. A pentacle was branded on his chest. Margaret handed Johnny a virgin dagger, and he sliced the boy clean open, and he ate his heart.
Guys, welcome to a classic movie review of 1987's Angel Heart, starring Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro and Lisa Bonet. Now, this was directed by Alan Parker, and it's the gothic psychological thriller dealing with a private eye who's hired by a mysterious stranger to find a guy who owes him a mysterious, unreconciled debt. Now, a trail of intriguing clues lead from New York to New Orleans and begin painting a picture of Satanism, sex and murder, themes that got the movie slapped with the dreaded X rating on its original late 80s release. And this is genuinely one of the great films of that decade for me. A period piece that feels authentic, a murder mystery that's genuinely gripping and almost too slippery for its own good. And certainly some themes and imagery here that won't be for everyone. Let's take a look. So let's get the satanic elephant in the room addressed first. Robert De Niro's mysterious stranger here is called Louis Cyphre, which, if you read it or say it in the right way, will quickly tell you about his devilish identity. What we don't know, at first anyway, is what he wants with this Johnny favourite character who he's looking for, a guy who apparently owes him a debt, and why he's chosen Mickey Rourke's grimy private detective Harry Angel to discover his whereabouts.
I gave Johnny some help at the beginning of his career.
Monsieur Cyphre has a contract. Certain collateral was involved to be forfeited in the event of his death.
You're losing me a little bit. We're talking about a guy who's dead.
Now, what we do begin to learn is that the bodies of Johnny Favourite's former acquaintances begin to pile up in an increasingly blood-soaked series of murders, and things become even more complex when Angel meets the beautiful 17-year-old Epiphany Proudfoot. These names, by the way. And the real truth begins to bubble to the surface.
Hey, Epiphany, there's too many dead bodies floating around. Even for Louisiana. I tell your old man to look out for you. You do have a husband.
No husband.
No?
Mm-mm.
Now, of course, this is a mystery movie, a really good one at that, and so going into too much of a plot dissection or recap would spoil some of its sick delights. Sick enough for the studio to demand 10 seconds of a love scene to be removed, but anyway, so many movies have attempted to recreate that classic film noir feel. Neo-noirs, modern noirs are labels that you may have seen slapped on films inspired by, but by no means in the same league as some of the genre's greats. Here, though, Alan Parker delivers, for me, just such a thing.
3 stiffs.
Stiffs?
Yeah. Dead bodies, Mr. Cyphre. Murders.
Murders?
Yeah.
So Angel Heart, which was based upon the novel Falling Angel by William Horsburgh, opens as a gritty whodunit, but then begins to quickly take on dark supernatural overtones of voodoo, black magic and ritualistic murder, something Harry Angel did not sign up for. And like I said, this is a period piece set in 1955, and the only thing more grubby and sweaty than its New Orleans setting is Mickey Rourke, who was great here. One of his finest performances. He feels like a character from the 50s, his mannerisms and classic gumshoe attitude. It's a pretty animated performance, which does sit in nice opposition to De Niro's ultra calm and collected Monsieur Cyphre. This was Untouchables era De Niro, so he gets an opportunity for a more mannered and still performance here. Menacing, but without the histrionics of Al Capone. The pair only share a few scenes together, but by all accounts, both actors disliked each other, making it a pain in the ass for Parker to direct them both. It's a short list of actors who can simply sit there and stare and still fill the frame and keep your attention.
Hey, look, I took on a $125 a day missing persons job with you, all right? Now I'm a murder suspect. That's it, I'm out.
Such are the hazards of your profession, Mr. Angel.
Now, a great deal was made at the time of this being the big screen debut of Lisa Bonet, who was famous for being the young Denise Huxtable in The Cosby Show. All of a sudden, as Epiphany Proudfoot, daughter of a secret lover of Johnny Favourite's before the war, she was a sexy single mother who just happens to be a practicing voodoo priestess, and also has a super steamy love scene that is quite graphic, to be honest, and pretty brutal once the room around her starts filling with blood. You'll see. She's lovely, of course, but also more than holds her own against Rourke. So yeah, I won't go into third act details too much here, but there's fun to be had in watching Rourke's character bounce from lead to lead and seeing each one of them end up dead in some ritualistic slaying. I think if you go back and rewatch the film, there'll be some telling moments, some subtle clues that will reveal the mystery a little bit earlier. Now, although there are supernatural themes and elements in Angel Heart, it's kept extremely subtle, so much so, in fact, that it could almost play as a straight-up Private Eye tale. Any kind of flashy special effects are kept to a bare minimum, although there are a couple of ropey moments involving eyes towards the end that I think weren't really necessary and threatened to cheapen things a little bit. Again, no spoilers.
Are you afraid?
Yeah, I'm afraid. You must want this Johnny pretty bad, huh?
I don't like messy accounts.
So the late British director Alan Parker, whose career included some Pink Floyd projects such as The Wall, as well as films like Midnight Express, The Commitments, Fame and Evita, I think does maybe his best work here for me personally. I also love Mississippi Burning and his criminally underrated and heart-shattering adaptation of Angela's Ashes. Here he uses flashbacks and visions to disorientate us, but also gives us subtle clues throughout. Now, the whole Louis Cyphre name thing still bothers me. And I think some of the elements of the finale are a little bit too on the nose, which knock it a notch down from absolute classic status. And the whole thing looks glorious, courtesy of photography by Michael Saracen, who also shot Midnight Express, Dawn and War of Planet of the Apes, and The Prisoner of Azkaban. We get just the right level here of that vintage sepia look, and that twinned with Trevor Jones's music makes you feel sweaty just from watching it. Now, of course, we can't go without mentioning Mickey Rourke, who, for me, is one of the movie business's biggest tragedies. Rourke began as an amateur boxer, and after a few years of acting, decided to go back to the sport in an attempt to discipline himself as he was self-destructing. As a result of his injuries, though, and the reconstructive surgery that he received, he never looked the same, which is a shame because he was a pretty handsome dude. Angel Heart captures him at his peak, really. The barfly 9.5 weeks era when he was both a sex symbol and a serious acting talent.
You think it's gonna scare me? It ain't. Because I know who I am. And you killed them. And you're trying to pin it on me. And I know who I am.
So despite not being the most subtle of affairs, Angel Heart stands strongly alongside the majority of gumshoe noir classics and certainly one of the best in the genre of zany satanic thrill rides. Go check it out.
Even your name is a dime store joke.
Mephistopheles is such a mouthful in Manhattan, Johnny.